All right, so let's dive into something I think we all know and, well, maybe not love, but definitely experience meetings. Whether you are a meeting maestro or someone who hides when that Outlook invite pops up. This deep dive is all about maximizing those precious minutes. We're going on a quest to transform your meeting experience, and we're armed with insights from Jacqueline Whitmore. She's an etiquette expert featured in Entrepreneur magazine, and specifically, her article, The Best Way to Run a Business Meeting.
Yeah, and you know what's fascinating here is that Whitmore, she doesn't just offer those sort of like surface level tips. She really digs into the psychology and strategy behind successful meetings, which is what we'll unpack today.
Oh, absolutely. It's funny, we often talk about time being money, but have you ever actually calculated the dollar value of a meeting? Whitmore suggests doing just that. Think of it this way. Every minute of a meeting with, let's say, 10 people making $50 an hour, it costs the company over $80. Suddenly, those side conversations and agenda detours, they get really expensive.
Yeah, it really puts things into perspective, right? And that brings us to Whitmore's first big point. Is this meeting really necessary? Could an email, a quick phone call, or even a shared document accomplish the same goal?
Oh, man. I feel personally attacked. Just kidding, sort of. But seriously, how many times have we all been in those meetings? That could have been an email chain.
Right. More often than we'd like to admit, I think. Meetings should be reserved for those situations that demand, real-time collaboration, brainstorming, crucial decision-making with key stakeholders, or perhaps when you need to build consensus. That just can't happen over a screen.
Okay, so we've determined this meeting is mission critical. Now, who are we bringing into the war room? Whitmore stresses being strategic about invitations, and I have to say this is something I've learned the hard way. Too many cooks in the kitchen, and suddenly your meeting is a potluck of opinions without a clear direction.
Exactly. It's about assembling your A-team, those who are essential for making decisions and moving the project forward. Now, before you even send out that calendar invite, Whitmore has this brilliant pre-meeting power move. She emphasizes establishing crystal clear objectives. What's the purpose of this gathering? What are the specific measurable goals?
It's like having a meeting mission statement. What are we fighting for here? And this next point is where it gets really interesting. Whitmore suggests taking it a step further, envisioning the victory dance. What outcome would make this meeting a success? How will you know you've achieved what you set out to do?
It's about having that clear picture of success in mind right from the start. So you've got your goals set, your A-team assembled. Now, how do you make those minutes count?
That brings us to the agenda, which Whitmore sees as the superhero sidekick of any successful meeting. And let me tell you, a well-crafted agenda is like having a map through the meeting jungle.
Couldn't agree more. Think of it as your strategic battle plan, ensuring you conquer the most important objectives. She emphasizes prioritizing tasks and tackling the big-ticket items first, especially since, let's face it, sometimes people have to leave early.
It's like making sure the climax of the movie happens before the credits roll.
Yeah.
Don't leave people hanging. And speaking of keeping things moving, I have to ask about a tip that initially made me chuckle. Stand-up meetings. Is this just a Silicon Valley quirk? Or is there real science behind it?
It might sound unusual, but there's actually some solid psychology at play here. Stand-up meetings are these short, focused gatherings, often done standing, just to keep things concise and energy levels up. No one wants to be stuck in a meeting marathon when they're on their feet.
Right. It's like that old saying, brevity is the soul of wit. And when it comes to meetings, brevity is the soul of productivity.
Well said. Now, a well-structured agenda is crucial. But Whitmore also dives into some in-meeting magic, and one of her tips really caught my eye: the power of storytelling.
Oh, I love this one. It reminds me of a time when, actually, you know what? We'll save that story for later. But the
Yeah.
point is, stories have this amazing ability to make information stick.
Absolutely. Think about those dry, data-heavy presentations we've all endured. Now imagine that same information presented as a captivating story, with relatable characters and a clear narrative arc. Suddenly, everyone's leaning in engaged and remembering those key takeaways.
All right, so we've prepped like champions, crafted a killer agenda, and even sprinkled in some storytelling magic. Now, how do we stick the landing and avoid that dreaded meeting fade out?
This is where so many meetings go wrong. We've all experienced that awkward silence, the shuffling of papers, the "so are we done?" That's why Whitmore stresses the importance of a clear and concise wrap-up.
Reiterate those key decisions, deadlines, and next steps. Make sure everyone leaves feeling like they accomplished something and knows exactly what happens next.
Yeah, it's like tying a neat little bow on the whole package. And you know what's really striking about Whitmore's approach? is her emphasis on the psychology of meetings. It's not just about ticking boxes on a checklist. It's about creating an environment where people, feel respected or
Well,
heard.
and dare I say, even a little bit excited to contribute.
Yeah, I'm picking up what you're
Yeah,
putting down. It's like that feeling when you walk out of a meeting, feeling energized, like you were actually part of something productive and meaningful.
exactly. And a lot of that comes down to psychological safety, which Whitmore touches on throughout the article. When people feel safe to speak their minds, to challenge ideas respectfully, to even toss out a crazy idea without fear of judgment, that's when the real magic happens.
Okay, that makes total sense. But how do we actually cultivate that sense of psychological safety? Because let's be honest, some meetings can feel more like a battlefield than a brainstorming session.
Oh, so true. I think it starts with the meeting leader setting the tone. It's about actively listening, acknowledging different perspectives, and making it clear that everyone's contributions are valued. It's like being the conductor of an orchestra, making sure everyone has their moment to shine. And speaking of shining, Whitmore also talks about the importance of starting and ending on time. It might seem like a small thing, but I think it sends a powerful message about respecting everyone's time.
It's about demonstrating that you value their presence, that you're not going to waste their precious minutes. And that respect extends to staying focused on the agenda and minimizing those side conversations. That can derail the entire meeting.
Ugh, I've been in so many meetings where it feels like we're playing a game of conversation whack-a-mole. One minute we're discussing marketing strategy, the next we're debating the best pizza toppings. It's exhausting.
Right. It can make people feel like their time is being wasted, which can erode that sense of psychological safety we were talking about. But, even with the best intentions, sometimes you encounter those meeting monsters, those personalities that can throw the whole thing off balance.
Oh, tell me about it. We've all met them. The meeting hijackers, the chronic interrupters, the folks who are more interested in checking their phones than contributing to the discussion. What are some strategies for dealing with those challenging characters?
Well, first of all, remember that clear expectations are key. Before the meeting even starts, lay out some ground rules. Let people know that you expect them to come prepared, to participate actively, and to be fully present.
I love the idea of a meeting code of conduct. And if someone starts to hijack the conversation or constantly interrupt others,
Don't be afraid to gently but firmly steer them back on track. You can say something like, "That's an interesting point, Mark, but let's make sure we give everyone a chance to share their thoughts."
ooh, I like that. Direct but respectful. And what about the phone checkers? I feel like that's become an epidemic in the age of constant connectivity.
I hear you. It's like the digital equivalent of doodling in a notebook during a meeting. It sends the message that you're not fully engaged.
So how do we combat this tech-driven distraction?
Again, clear expectations are your secret weapon. You can even make it a rule to have everyone put their phones on, silent and out of sight. Create that tech-free zone where everyone can focus on the task at hand.
I love that. It's like hitting the reset button on our attention spans. But, it's not just about eliminating distractions, is it? It's about cultivating that sense of presence and engagement that we were talking about earlier.
You hit the nail on the head. It's about recognizing that everyone has something valuable to contribute and creating a space where those contributions are welcomed and respected.
It's fascinating to think about. How much our meeting habits reflect our overall work culture?
Oh, absolutely. Meetings are a microcosm of the workplace. If you've got a culture of trust, open communication, and mutual respect, that's going to show up in your meetings. And on the flip side, if you've got a culture of silos, fear of speaking up, or a lack of clear direction, well, those problems are going to be amplified in the meeting room.
Yeah, it's like holding up a mirror to the organization. So what does this all mean for our listeners out there who are bravely facing another day of back-to-back meetings? How can they take these insights and actually apply them to their own work lives?
That's the million-dollar question. I think the key takeaway here is that we all have the power to make meetings better, whether we're organizing them, participating in them, or even just observing the dynamics at play. It starts with being mindful of the things we've discussed today, setting clear objectives, being strategic about invitations, crafting a laser-focused agenda, and fostering that culture of respect and engagement.
Don't forget the storytelling. It can really elevate a meeting from a snooze fest to something memorable and impactful.
Absolutely. And, as we've been talking about these meeting mastery principles, it struck me that they're not limited to the conference room. These ideas of clarity, purpose, respect, and engagement. They're fundamental to any successful interaction, whether it's a team project, a client presentation, or even just a heart-to-heart with a friend.
Yeah. Mind blown. You're totally right. It's like we've stumbled onto a universal communication toolkit.
Exactly. So let's take this beyond the boardroom. Think about that idea of setting clear objectives. How often do we go into a conversation, a negotiation, even a social gathering, without really knowing what we hope to achieve?
Ooh, guilty as charged. It's like wandering aimlessly through a grocery store without a list. You end up with a cart full of impulse buys.
Mm,
And forget the milk.
precisely. We end up wasting time and energy, and often feel frustrated with the outcome. So before you jump into any interaction, take a moment to clarify your purpose. What are you hoping to achieve? What would make this a success?
It's like having a mental compass to guide your way through the wilderness of human interaction.
Exactly. And it helps you stay focused and avoid getting sidetracked by those tempting but ultimately unproductive tangents.
So now I'm really curious about how that idea of strategic invitations applies outside of a meeting context.
Yeah, it's about being mindful of who we bring into our various circles and situations. Do they have the necessary skills perspectives? Or even just the right energy to contribute positively? Not everyone needs to be at every party, so to speak.
So true. Sometimes less is more. It's about assembling the right team for the mission, whether that's a work project or planning a weekend getaway.
And what about that trusty agenda? Does it have a place beyond the boardroom table?
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm not pulling out a formal agenda before chatting with my friends over coffee.
Maybe not a formal agenda, but the principle still applies. Think of it as a mental framework for your interactions. If you're having a difficult conversation, maybe jot down a few key points you want to make sure you address. If you're leading a team meeting, having that mental outline can keep you on track and prevent those energy-draining rabbit holes.
It's like having a mental map to navigate those tricky conversations, ensuring you hit those important landmarks without getting lost in the weeds.
Precisely. And of course, we can't forget our secret weapon, the power of storytelling. We've talked about how it can bring a meeting to life. But that transformative power extends far beyond the office walls. Stories connect us. They inspire us. They help us make sense of the world around us.
Yeah, stories are the universal language of the human experience. So how do we weave more storytelling into our everyday lives?
Look for those opportunities to share your experiences, your insights, your lessons learned. Use stories to illustrate your points, to build rapport, and to make your message memorable. Whether you're mentoring a colleague, pitching a new idea, or simply trying to make a friend laugh, a well-told story can work wonders.
It's about finding those human touch points that resonate with people on a deeper level.
Exactly. And remember, everyone has a story to tell. Be curious, be a good listener, and you'll be amazed at the stories you uncover.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation. Who knew that a deep dive into meeting strategies would unlock so many insights about communication and connection in all areas of our lives?
It's a testament to the power of human interaction and the importance of being intentional about how we connect and collaborate with others.
So to our amazing listeners out there, as you navigate the boardrooms, the coffee shops, and all the spaces in between, take these principles and experiment with them. See how they can transform your meetings, your relationships, and your overall well-being.
And remember, this journey to mastery is ongoing. There's always more to learn, more to explore, and more ways to connect.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the art of meetings and beyond. We'll see you next time for another adventure in learning and discovery.
Until then, keep diving deep.